A prayer that refuses to die. Gather close, my children, and listen to this tale of a mother's heart that would not break, even when the world tried to crush it. In a quiet rural village nestled between green hills and a winding river lived Mama Io and her husband, Papa Io. Their home was simple, made of mud bricks and thatched roof, but it had once been filled with the light of their little son, Io. That light vanished years ago, leaving shadows that lingered like evening mist. Every dawn, as the first birds sang, Mama Io knelt by her cooking fire. The smoke rose like her prayers, curling toward the sky. "Oh God," she whispered, her voice steady but eyes wet with tears, "protect my child wherever he is. Do not let him forget the love that waits for him." The villagers whispered behind her back. "Poor woman," they said. "It's been so many years. She should accept that the boy is gone, perhaps taken by the spirits or the river." But Mama Io shook her head. "God does not lose what he creates," she told them. "My son lives, and one day he will return." Papa Io stood nearby, silent as a tall tree. He hid his pain deep inside, working the fields from sunrise to sunset to forget the emptiness. But at night he lay awake, remembering Io's small hand in his. The village moved on, with children playing and markets buzzing, but for this family, time stood still. Yet on this particular morning, as Mama Io finished her prayer and wiped her face, a figure appeared on the distant road, a stranger, tall and strong, walking toward the village with a bag over his shoulder. Who was he, and why did his steps seem guided by an unseen hand? Child who was light. Ah, let me take you back, dear listeners, to the days when joy danced in that humble home like sunlight on water. Little Io was the heart of the village, a boy with eyes as bright as morning stars and a smile that could melt the coldest heart. From the moment he could walk, he followed his mother everywhere, helping her fetch water or stir the pot of yam porridge. "Mama, see what I found," he would say, holding up a shiny stone or a colorful feather. Papa Io taught him to fish in the river, showing him how to cast the net with patience. "Life is like this river, my son," he said. "It flows, sometimes calm, sometimes wild, but it always leads somewhere." Io listened, his small face serious, then laughed as fish jumped in the water. The neighbors loved him too. Old women gave him sweets, and children followed him like puppies. He shared everything, his toys, his food, even his stories. Once, when a storm flooded a neighbor's farm, Io helped rebuild the fence, his tiny hands working without complaint. The village elders often said, "This boy is a blessing from the ancestors. He brings unity where there was none." Mama Io sang lullabies to him each night, her voice soft like a gentle breeze. "Sleep well, my light," she whispered. Those were happy times, when worries were few and dreams were big. But happiness can be fragile, like a clay pot. The day of the great market festival approached, a time of drums, dances, and traders from far lands. The air buzzed with excitement, colors everywhere, red cloths, yellow beads, green leaves. Little Io clapped his hands, eager for the fun. The moment everything broke. Now, picture the festival, my friends, alive with the beat of drums that echoed through the hills like thunder. Vendors shouted, selling spices, cloth, and shiny pots. Dancers swirled in bright costumes, their feet stamping the earth. Little Io held his mother's hand tightly at first, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mama, look at the masks!" he cried, pointing to carved wooden faces painted in fierce colors.
Mama Io smiled, buying him a sweet mango. Papa Io bartered for tools nearby, glancing back to check on them. The crowd grew thicker, people pushing and laughing. For just a moment, Mama Io turned to greet an old friend. Her hand slipped from Io's. "Stay close, my son," she said, but the words were lost in the noise. Minutes passed. She looked down. He was gone. "Io! Io!" Her voice rose above the drums. Panic spread like fire. Papa Io rushed over, his face pale. "Where is he?" They searched the stalls, calling his name. Traders shook their heads. Dancers paused, confused. The joy turned to fear as the sun climbed higher. Was he hiding, playing a game, or had something darker happened? The village chief gathered men to look, but as the shadows lengthened, no sign appeared. Mama Io's scream pierced the air, halting the celebration like a sudden storm. Drums fell silent. Eyes turned to her wide with shock. What evil had stolen their light?
A village in panic. Oh, the chaos that followed, dear ones, as if the spirits themselves had stirred the pot of trouble. The village erupted into action. Men grabbed torches and lanterns, even though the sun still shone. "Search the forests," the chief commanded. Groups fanned out, hacking through thick bushes, calling "Ayo! Ayo!" Echoes bounced back, mocking them. Women gathered near the river, their voices rising in song to plead with the water spirits. "Give back our child," they chanted. Elders knelt in the shrine, offering kola nuts and prayers to the ancestors. "Protect the boy," they begged. Footprints were spotted near a path, small ones like Ayo's, but they led to a tangle of vines and vanished. Mama Ayo refused to sit. She ran from hut to hut, tears streaming. "Has anyone seen my son?" Papa Ayo's hands bled from thorns, but he kept going. Neighbors brought food, but no one ate. Whispers spread. Maybe traders took him, or wild animals. Fear gripped hearts. As night crept in, hope flickered like a dying flame. Then a boy playing by the water shouted. He held up a small sandal, muddy and torn. Ayo's sandal, the one with the red strap Mama Ayo had tied that morning. Gasps filled the air. What did it mean? Had the river claimed him? For in the face of darkness, true strength shows itself like stars in the night sky. Papa Ayo stared at the sandal, his face hardening with resolve. "My son is not gone," he declared. Without another word, he plunged into the river, diving deep into the murky waters. Again and again he surfaced, gasping but empty-handed. Villagers pulled him out when exhaustion nearly drowned him. Mama Ayo stood on the shore, her dress wet from waves, refusing to leave. "Ayo, come back to me," she whispered, her voice breaking. Friends tried to lead her home, but she shook them off. "I will wait here until he returns." Torches lit the banks, casting eerie shadows. Prayers continued through the cold hours. As dawn broke, a traveling fisherman arrived, his boat laden with nets. "I saw something yesterday," he said. "A canoe drifting downstream, empty, or so I thought. It was far, but perhaps—" Eyes widened. Could Ayo have fallen in? Papa Ayo grabbed his arm. "Take me there." But the river was wide and swift. Hope clung like a fragile vine, yet darkness loomed. The search beyond borders. Ah, the Father's love knew no bounds, stretching like the river itself into unknown lands. Papa Ayo set out at first light, following the fisherman's tale. He traveled to distant towns, his feet blistered, asking strangers, "Have you seen a boy with bright eyes and a red-strapped sandal?" Rumors led him on, a child seen with traders, another begging by a road.
Months turned to years. He crossed forests thick with danger, slept under stars, and bartered his last coins for information. Each lead sparked hope. Yes, a boy like that passed through, but always disappointment waited. Wrong child, false story. The family's savings dwindled. Fields lay untended back home. Mama Io waited, her prayers unending. Letters came rarely, carrying Papa Io's weary words, "I will not stop." Villagers pitied them, offering food and comfort, yet grief aged them like dry winds on leaves. Finally, after endless wandering, Papa Io returned home, his shoulders bent, hands empty. "I found nothing," he whispered to Mama Io. She held him, tears mixing, but in his eyes a spark remained.
When hope becomes loneliness. Time, my children, can heal or harden, and for this family it carved deep loneliness. Neighbors returned to their lives, plowing fields, celebrating births, while Mama Io and Papa Io remained trapped in sorrow. "You must mourn him," friends urged gently. "Perform the rites, let his spirit rest." But Mama Io refused. "My son lives," she said firmly. "I feel it in my bones." Papa Io worked silently, his laughter gone. The hut felt empty, Io's toys gathering dust. Whispers grew, "They are cursed." Children avoided their path. One evening, as stars appeared, Mama Io lit a small lamp by the window. "This is for you, my son," she murmured. "May it guide you home." Night after night the flame burned, a beacon of unyielding hope. Villagers shook their heads, but some admired her faith.
A child saved by strangers. Far away, where the river met the sea, a different story unfolded, hidden like treasure in the sand. A fisherman named Baba Olu and his wife, Mama Olu, cast their nets one afternoon. "Look!" Baba Olu shouted. A canoe drifted toward them, rocking gently. Inside lay a small boy, unconscious, his clothes wet and torn. They pulled him aboard, hearts pounding. "He's alive," Mama Olu whispered, wrapping him in a cloth. No one else was near, no parents, no clues. "The gods have sent him," Baba Olu said. They took him to their modest home in a distant town, nursing him with herbs and warm soup. Days passed. The child woke, frightened, his eyes searching. "Where is Mama?" he mumbled, but memories
It's all right,
faded
my
like
love.
mist.
Yes,
Seeing
that's
no
brave
one come for him, the couple decided to raise him. "He is our gift," they agreed. They named him Kola, for wealth and honor, without roots. Kola grew in the loving arms of Baba Olu and Mama Olu, learning to fish and mend nets. Their town was bustling, with markets by the sea and boats bobbing like ducks. He was kind, helping neighbors without ask, but a quiet emptiness lingered in his heart, like a hole in a basket. "Why do I feel lost?" he wondered sometimes, staring at the waves. His new parents showered him with care, telling stories of the sea gods. Yet at night he tossed in sleep, repeating a name, Io, Io. Mama Olu hushed him. "It's just dreams, my child." But the name echoed, unfamiliar to all. Kola asked about his past. "You came from the river," they said gently, "a blessing to us." He accepted, but the emptiness grew.
Dreams that refuse to fade. As Kola became a boy, the dreams came stronger, vivid as daylight. He saw a woman by a river crying, her arms outstretched. "Io!" she called.
He woke sweating, tears on his cheeks. "What does it mean?" he asked Mama Olu. She worried, stroking his hair. "Perhaps old memories," she said, but fear gripped her. What if someone claimed him? Baba Olu took him to a spiritual elder, an old man with wise eyes. The elder lit incense, chanting softly. "These are not mere dreams," he said. "They are calls from your true beginning. A river took you, but it will lead you back." Kola shivered, the words stirring something deep.
The charm on his wrist. From the day of rescue, a leather charm hung on Kola's wrist, tied tight with red thread. "It protected you," Mama Olu said. "Never remove it." He touched it often, feeling a strange comfort, like a whisper from afar. The charm was simple, a pouch with something inside. Neighbors admired it, but none knew its origin. "It's from the spirits," they guessed. Kola wondered too, tracing its edges during quiet moments by the sea. One day, curiosity won. He peeked inside, a carved symbol, like intertwined rivers. "What is this?" he asked the elder. "A mark of ancestry," the old man replied. "It belongs to a lineage far from here."
A youth of noble character. Kola blossomed into a young man, tall and strong, with hands skilled in work and a heart full of compassion. He helped fishermen mend boats, shared his catch with the poor, and settled disputes with wise words. "You are like a chief," townsfolk said, admiring his honesty. Yet, despite the praise, Kola felt adrift, as if life was a path he walked but did not own. "I am grateful," he told his parents, "but something calls me elsewhere." Baba Olu nodded sadly. "We love you, son." His nobility shone in small acts, rescuing a drowning child, nursing a sick elder. But the emptiness persisted. The call of destiny. The dreams intensified night after night, pulling Kola like a current. "Your road begins where your tears first fell," the elder had said. Those words haunted him. "I must go," he told his parents one dawn. Tears filled their eyes. "We knew this day might come," Mama Olu whispered, hugging him. They gave him food, a cloak, and blessings. "Follow your heart," Baba Olu said. Kola set out, his steps uncertain but determined, toward the river's source. Villages passed, each stirring faint echoes. Arrival of the stranger. Back in the rural village, life trudged on, marked by Mama Io's nightly lamp. Then, one afternoon, a young stranger arrived, seeking work in the fields. Tall, with kind eyes, he greeted the chief humbly. "I am Kola, from the seaside town." Whispers spread. Who is he? Unease rippled. His face seemed familiar, like a ghost from old stories. Children stared. Elders watched warily. Mama Io, fetching water, glimpsed him. Her bucket slipped, heart trembling without reason. "Who are you?" she thought. A familiar voice. Kola settled in, working hard, his voice respectful as he spoke to villagers. "Thank you for the meal," he said, his tone warm, gestures graceful. Elders exchanged glances. It reminded them of little Io's ways. Papa Io noticed too, watching from afar. The stranger laughed at a joke, tilting his head just like Io once did. "Impossible," he muttered, heart stirring. Mama Io listened, hidden, her soul aching with unexplained pull. The pull of the unseen. Drawn by an invisible thread, Kola wandered to the riverbank one evening. He stood silent, emotions swelling, sadness, longing.
I have been here before, he whispered to the water. Birds chirped as if agreeing. Memories flickered, faint but real. Seeds of suspicion. Mama Io watched Kola secretly, her eyes tracing his features. A faint scar near his eyebrow caught her breath, the same spot where Io fell as a toddler. Could it be? She wondered, hope terrifying her more than grief. She prayed harder, fearing another heartbreak. Resistance and fear. Papa Io forbade talk of the stranger. Do not reopen wounds, he warned Mama Io. But she prayed for truth. An elderly midwife approached. I recognize that boy's birthmark from delivering Io. The birthmark secret. The midwife insisted, a rare mark on his shoulder, like a star. Papa Io demanded proof. Kola, hearing, admitted, I have carried a strange mark since childhood. He showed it, the star shape. Gasps echoed. The charm revealed. Elders gathered as Kola's charm was opened. Inside, the symbol of the family's ancestral rivers stunned them. Mama Io collapsed in tears, recognition flooding her. Memories stir awake. Fragments return to Kola. A song by the fire. Mama Io's laughter. Mama Io, he remembered, eyes widening. The river of truth. At the river, memory rushed back, falling into the canoe, drifting, waking with strangers. He turned to the parents, hands trembling. The confession of destiny. Kola recounted his life. His adoptive parents arrived, revealing they always suspected. Both families stood in emotional silence. Tears that healed generations. Parents embraced, choosing gratitude. Kola knelt, honoring both. Mama Io repeated her prayer, now thanksgiving. What God returns cannot be lost. The village celebrated, joy restoring what was lost. Kola pledged care for both families, his lamp burning in gratitude. Final moral: what faith refuses to bury, heaven restores in its appointed time.